Well, we thought we were going to start on that next page, but I cut off on the time, so here we go again. Week 1, part 2 of the never-ending story. It's Wednesday. Okay, so on this particular paper, the color by answer multiplication 2, you're using the standard algorithms to solve these problems. You can find out if you have the exact answer by comparing your answer choices here. The only thing that might be challenging or new is when you're multiplying a 3-digit times a 3-digit number. So we're going to work out one like that. So you'll need extra paper or your whiteboard, and you're going to write down the two products. I'm lying to you, those are factors. Okay, and we're using the standard algorithm. We draw a turtle head, or I do, just to demonstrate each of the steps. We're going to start out with 9 times 8 is 72. 9 times 7 is 63, plus 7 more, 70. 9 times 5 is 45, plus 7 more is 52. Alright, and we're done with the ones place. We come down, we put a 0, because now we're multiplying by the tens place. 2 times 8 is 16, carry your 1, put down your 6. 2 times 7 is 14, plus 1 more is 15. 2 times 5 is 10, plus 1 more is 11. Alright, we're done with the tens place. Alright, so when we are multiplying from the hundreds place, we have to put in 2 zeros. Alright, I'm ready to multiply. 1 times 8 is 8. 1 times 7 is 7. And 1 times 5 is 5. Okay, so now I have 3 partial products that I need to add up. 2, 6, 8 plus 2 is 10, plus 5 is 15. Gotta love that commutative property. Right here I've got 7, 8, 9, or I could think 5 plus 2 is 7, and 7 and 7 is 14. And then 5, 6, and 7. Right, so I'm looking for an answer choice of 74,562. And so I see that as my answer choice here. So I'm good to go. Alright, on the second page for Wednesday you have division. And this is division review with 1-digit numbers, and we're using the standard algorithm. So we're going to do the first one to remind you of those steps. And when we write this problem, we're going to write it with a box. And I'm going to take my dividend, and that goes inside the box, and my divisor out here, and my quotient up here. All right, and we read this problem, 693 divided by 3. We read it the same exact way as this, 693 divided by 3. All right, I know I'm going to be dividing 693 or splitting it up into smaller parts. And I'm going to start by asking myself, will 3 go into this 6, the 600? And it will, so I know my answer is going to start above the hundreds place, and that gives me an idea that I'm going to have a 3-digit answer in my quotient. So I'm going to start out by saying, all right, well, how many times will 3 go into 6? Well, look, it's going to go in there 2 times. I know 2 times 3 is 6. I write it underneath that 6 in the hundreds place, subtract it, and I have 0. Now I'm ready to bring down the next place I position, the tens place. So 9 tens. And can 9 tens be divided into 3 equal groups? Yes, it can be divided into 3 equal groups because 3 goes into 9 3 times. I write that in my quotient. 3 times 3 is 9. I subtract that and have 0 left over. How convenient. Now I'm bringing down my 3 ones. And I'm going to ask myself, can 3 ones be put into a group of 3? And it can, because 3 goes into 3 one time. I'm going to multiply 1 times 3, and I'm going to subtract it, and I have 0 left over. So I'm going to look up at my answer choices and see, do I have a quotient of 231? And I do, right there in the pink. You're going to use that process for each of these 5 problems. And then you can color Mr. Sunshine. And since I know everybody is really into drawing eyeballs, feel free to modify Mr. Sunshine's eyeballs any way you wish, ladies and gentlemen. All right, in there for you super creative ones. Love it. All right, so that's all for Wednesday. On Thursday, it gets into dividing by 2-digit divisors. All right, now we have talked about this process being using those partial quotients to subtract it out, and then we've moved on to the standard algorithm, which is what is being used on this page. And so we get an example here of how it's done, and so we're going to go through one of these, the word problem right here, and use that same method to solve the problem. All right, when we do a word problem, you want to make sure that you are ready to read it 3 times to make sure you're answering the question that's being asked. So I'm going to read through it once and then go back and make sense of it. Cammie is making necklaces using a bag of 693 beads. Each necklace contains 33 beads. How many necklaces can Cammie make? Estimate the quotient, then find the number of necklaces. All right, so I know the question that I'm going to be looking for to answer is find the number of necklaces that Cammie can make. All right, so I can picture Cammie making necklaces, and she's got a bunch of beads. She's got 693 beads. And every time she makes a necklace, it's going to be 33 beads. So I can see I'm going to put 693 into groups of 33. So I'm going to write that problem down. You can either find a spot on your paper. I'm going to use another piece of paper because I write gigantic. And so I'm going to take that 693 and I'm going to put it into groups of 33. Now they've recommended that we estimate first to find our quotient. So I'm going to be thinking, I'm going to use that estimating where I'm saying, will 33 go into 6? The 600? No. Will 33 go into 69 tenths? Yes, I can break that up. So I know my answer is going to be here. So my form of estimating that we use in class is knowing that this is going to be a 2-digit answer in our quotient. All right, I'm going to look back here and I'm going to say 33 will go into 66 how many times? Well, I know it'll go in at least once. Will it go in twice? Well, I know 33 times 2, and I'm going to try it out. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 3 is 6 is 66. So I know it will go in 2 times. So I know I'm going to put a 2 in my quotient over top of the tens place. I'm going to say 2 times 33 is 66 and subtract it. 9 minus 6 is 3. 6 minus 6 is 0. Right now I'm ready to bring down my ones place. And I have 33. So I know I can say, well, 33 will go into 33 how many times? Well, it's going to go in there 1 time. I'm going to then multiply 1 times 33, to subtract that out, and have 0 left over. All right, so I know 21 is my answer. Now, if I want to check that, I know I can multiply 21 times 33 to see if I'm correct. All right, so I'm going to put 33 times 21. I'm going to use the standard algorithm to check it. 1 times 3 is 3. 1 times 3 is 3. Come down and put a 0. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 3 is 6. Add those up. And I get 693, which matches my dividend. So I know I've done this. Right. All right, so I'm going to put my answer. Cammie can make 21 necklaces. All right. I'm showing it. You're going to follow those steps to solve 2 and 3. Also on Thursday, you have some more long division. Why? Because we love it. All right, so I'm going to look at this very first word problem and make sense of it by reading through it. Linda makes 1,228 ounces of punch for a party. Each guest drinks 12 ounces of punch. All right, so she's made a bunch of punch, and each guest is going to get 12 ounces of it. So I can already see that that 1,228 is going to be split up or shared out equally into 12-ounce sizes. So I can tell I'm going to be using division here. All right, so it says how many guests have punch? Well, I know that each guest can drink 12 ounces of punch. So every time I have 12 ounces of punch, that represents one guest. All right, so I'm going to take 1,228 and I'm going to divide that into groups of 12 ounces. All right, so I'm going to look here and I'm going to do my estimate first. Will 12 go into the one? Can I break 1,000 into groups of 12 easily? No. All right, can I do 12 hundreds into groups of 12 easily? Yes, I can. So I know that 12 will go into 12. My answer is going to start over my hundreds place. So that tells me I'm going to have a 3-digit number for a quotient. Now I'm ready to divide. 12 will go into 12 one time. 1 times 12 is 12 with 0 left over. Now this next one I can see is going to be an important thing to pay attention to because I'm going to bring down that 2 from the tens place. And I'm going to say, will 12 go into the 2? No, it will not. So what that tells me is I'm going to have to put a 0 up there in the tens place. It'll go 0 times. All right, now I'm going to multiply that 0 times the 12, which is 0. Subtract it. Now I'm ready to bring down my last place value position. All right, and I have 28. So I'm going to ask myself, how many times will 12 go to 28? How many times will 12 go to 28? Well, I know 2 times 12 is 24, so it's going to go 2 times. All right, 2 times 12 is 24. I subtract that, and I have 4 left over. That means I've got 4 ounces of punch left over. All right, so I know that I'm going to be able to serve 102 people punch. And how much punch is left over? Well, there are 4 ounces. 4 ounces just happens to be half a cup, which would be just enough to sip off myself if I served out 102 guests. All right, so you can do that same sort of thing, stepping each of these problems out. Now I notice here they've written it in a number sentence, and you're going to change that on your paper to do long division like this. And you are going to need some extra paper to do that. I can't imagine, well, yes, I can imagine 5th graders squeezing it all in there. So yeah, go for it. Okay, we're going to take a look at what is going to be done on Friday, which is a color by division. All right, now this is, I think the only thing you have to do on Friday is to practice more long division. And these are dividing by 2-digit divisors. And we're going to pick one of them to solve together. All right, so we have about 2 minutes to finish this because these recordings are 15 minutes. I'm figuring this out. All right, so I'm going to pick a short one. Hey, that's a good idea. 884, the very first one, divided by 17. All right, a little bit tricky. So how do I step this out? Well, I'm going to estimate first by saying, will 17 go into 8? It will not. Will it go into 88? It will. So I know it's going to be a 2-digit number. And so since I am smart like this, I can see that I've got some answer choices of 5, 5, 5, 5. So I'm going to say that I bet it's going to go in there about 5 times. 17 and 88 is going to go about 5 times. I'm going to check that out over here to the side. 5 times 7 is 35. 5 times 1 is 5. Plus 3 more is 8. Hey, that works. I'm going to put a 5 over my tens place. I'm going to subtract that 85. And I'm going to have 3 left over. I'm going to bring down my 4. All right, so now I'm going to say, how many times will 17 go into 84? Could it possibly be 1 or 2? Well, I'm going to try 2. I can see that 2 times 7 is 14. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3. It goes exactly 2 times. So I'm going to put that in my answer, in my quotient. 2 times 17 is 34. Subtract it out. None left over. And I can see that that is answer choice 52, which is purple. Okay, so that's all of the first week of work. Hope this helps you out, or you've kind of looked over your papers that you've been working on and saying, yeah, I got this. Send those papers in so I can record your answers.